Welcome back, fellow traveler. I want to talk to you today about gate agents and whether or not they are lying to you when there's a delay. And if they're lying to you about what the delay is about, or if they even know what the heck they're talking about. So let's jump right in. I worked gates at the airport for quite a few years, and it was one of the favorite things I've done in my career. It's still a highlight for me. I enjoyed the rush, the deadlines that you had to meet, just interacting with everybody that was boarding on the flight, getting people onto the plane, changing their seats before departure, just talking with them about their destinations before, the proverbial crap hit the fan and you just need to get people onto the plane within like 20, 30 minutes. I loved it. One of the things I didn't love, though, was when there was a delay. And like you as a traveler, I don't like it when there's a delay because that means that I have to spend more time working. That's just what it is, right? Because after a flight, usually you take a bit of time, you sort out the manifest, you get all the documents that you need to hand off to your boss, and then your boss hands it off to airport operations hands it up the line, and a lot of extra paperwork that you need to do. That paperwork needs to get done regardless. If that flight's delayed, that means I'm more than likely staying overtime, and then I'm staying even longer filling out extra paperwork as to why it was delayed. Was there any problems? Was it a passenger service problem, or was it a maintenance problem? Was it a cabin crew? There were so many different things you have to fill out. It's a bit tedious. So I always hated it when there was a delay, almost as much, if not more, than you guys, because you guys are taking off on vacation or you're going back home after a great vacation. I'm working. So with that said, I never actually was put in a situation where I needed to lie. But I was definitely accused of lying to people about whether the flight was delayed, and I said it was weather. And, like if it's going, in this case, I was working at the Montreal airport. If I'm going and I'm working the flight going to New York and the flight's delayed and the reason that I'm getting is weather, and then you jump on the phone and call your friend in New York who you're visiting and they're like, oh no, it's completely sunny here. I can understand why you would think that a gate agent would be lying to you. The truth of the matter is there's a lot of different weather patterns between Montreal and New York, and that's just a close proximity. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a straight line. Aircrafts take certain routes to get into and out of certain airports, and if the weather conditions, not necessarily on the ground level, but on the cruising altitude or on the descent or the incline are of any danger, they put the brakes until that can be resolved and the weather, disperses or becomes better. So while the weather at a destination, or you look out the window and you see it's bright, there are a lot of other underlying factors as to why that person is giving you a weather delay. Now, maintenance is another story. I remember vividly, I was doing an aircraft that was going from Montreal to Winnipeg, and the aircraft was a small one. I think it was an Embraer, and we got to the gate, we were about ready to go, and right before boarding started, I got a call from downstairs saying that they needed to repair the front tire. The front tire was torn or slashed when the pilot was doing his walk around. They thought that it probably happened during taxiing, whatever. So I had to stop the pre-boarding announcement that I was literally in the middle of doing to say there's going to be a flight delay. I'll give you more info when I have more info. And the aircraft, the way it was set up was that it was right behind me. So I had my counter for ticketing or for the gate, and right behind me were a huge window where you saw the aircraft. So I make the announcement that it's due to mechanical reasons, and we're currently looking into it. And a guy comes up to me and says he doesn't believe me because the aircraft just came in, there wasn't a problem. It's like, okay, well, you can look behind me, and they're in the middle of propping the aircraft up. I don't remember how they replaced the tire. I just remember that it was evident that you can see they were working on the tire. And this guy was like, nope, there's something else that's going on here. It's fishy. That's just a cover-up story. Tell me what's really going on. I have a right to know. Well, sir, this is the information that I was given. I don't know more than that. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing at this moment. I'm not an aircraft repairman. I'm simply the person that punches your seat in, checks your documents, and off you go. And at that point, there was nothing more that I wanted to see than him get out of here. So having him board the aircraft and get going was my main priority. So the longer that I needed to stand fielding these questions, and as the delay went on, he got more and more aggressive until it was repaired and everybody was on their way. So that was another instance. Like, I give the information that I can relay back to the passengers that are waiting. it's good airport etiquette or airline etiquette to keep your passengers informed. So ideally, I would like to make updates about the 10-15 minute interval. More than that, it becomes a bit too frequent. Longer than that, people get frustrated. So when we get information from our command tower that there's a delay because of XYZ reason, we're filtering that information back to you. Again, we want to make sure that you are informed, because there's nothing that's more frustrating than having somebody at the gate that's supposed to be boarding your flight. You don't know what's going on. It's critical. It's key that I keep you informed, and that I just, I can't make any firm commitments because anything can happen. And that's one of the things that also frustrates people is like, if you're like, okay, well, will we leave in the next 20 minutes? I don't know, because I don't want to say, well, we're going to leave in 20 minutes, and then at 25 minutes, you come back and start yelling at me because I said 20 minutes, and now it's 5 minutes past that, and there's no end in sight to this wait. So that's why people aren't committed or committal towards certain deadlines, because we don't want to promise you anything that we can't deliver on. That's more frustrating than being told, well, we'll keep you informed. If there's something that we can do, or when we get word from the captain that we're ready to start boarding, we will. It's stuff like that. We just always like to communicate what we know. At no point have I ever been told or instructed to intentionally misinform you. Now, I could imagine a scenario where if there's a security issue, or there's a situation where some level of decorum needed to be maintained so that we don't set people off in a panic, or that we don't tip our hand for whatever reason, I could see that would be a reason. I've never encountered that. I've never heard of it happening at the airport that I was working in, but certainly I could see an avenue where that would be a case. Generally on par, the people I worked with, or I had the pleasure of working with, were all stand-up individuals who were always looking at doing the best by the passengers. We always wanted to make sure you were informed, safe, kept in the loop, and passed along the information so you wouldn't rally too much against us. So all this to say, the airline agents generally will tell you what they know. They might not be fully informed about what's really going on, but if they get something that they can pass on, they will certainly do that. Sometimes with these big companies, the left hand doesn't talk to the right hand, and then you have a situation where misinformation could happen, but that is not ever by design. It's always just a byproduct of having so many moving parts in an airline's operation and the day-to-day activity at the airport. Let me know a situation that you might have had at the airport where you thought an agent might not have been on the up and up, or you just kept hearing different stories from a lot of people. Certainly is frustrating. Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, you can check out some of my other videos right over here. And if you'd like to subscribe, you can do that right here. It helps the channel out, no doubt, but it also lets you know when we upload new content. I'd like to thank you for making me a part of your day, and until next time, safe travels.